shop.
Is this the new one for the 813?
Does it say at the,
Yes,
yes,
1220, that's why I wondered.
The agendas are gonna be exactly the same as,
No, I was looking at the ordinance number though,
Oh,
on the one
okay.
she gave us the copy, and it was not the same as either of them that was on the sheet.
okay, so once we get to that point, we'll have to.
Okay.
But anyways, if everyone would stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then, Ms. Carolyn, if we can go ahead and have roll call, thank you.
okay. Shirley Burkhorn,
Here.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski, Jordan Dirksen,
Here.
Camille Wilcox,
Here.
Linda Wolfarth,
Here.
Tom Green.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And then I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:02 PM. We'll kind of move forward with the agenda. Now, we do need to make an amendment to the agenda. And so I think we just generally ask for a motion to amend the agenda. And so all we need to do is we need to, I'm gonna ask for a motion to amend the agenda for subsection A. It says ordinance 813. That needs to be clarified as 813, section C, and then subsections A and B. Or subsection 1A and 1B. There we go. So nothing about it changes. The ordinance in front of you should be the updated one. And so if I can I get a motion to amend the agenda under me, item A, to chapter 813, section C, subsection 1A and 1B.
I'll make a motion.
If I can get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, let's have a roll on that, Carolyn, thank you.
Okay. Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen, Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfarth.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, we amend that. And then, was there a question concerning the MUT tax ordinance?
Yeah, the one that she just handed us says ordinance number 20, or 12-20,
Okay.
and I don't see that as being the number.
Okay, so we'll just amend that ordinance number then. We did pass a couple ordinances in amongst all these, and we were coming back to revisit it. So all we need to do is if I get a motion to amend section C under me to ordinance 20-12.
20-12.
Yep,
20-12, not 20-11.
because the ordinance we've got here, and this is the one that was, sorry, real quick.
Because it says at the top 12-20,
Yeah.
but okay.
Yes, no, I believe that is correct.
So it's 20-12 instead of 12-20.
Yeah, I believe it's 20-12.
Or is this the one that was passed in 2012?
I thought it was 20-11.
Or 12-20, 12-20 is what it's supposed to be, correct, since it's the 2020 year. So I guess we'll just ask for an amendment to, what was that, sorry?
I thought it was 20-11.
But the ordinance we've got here is labeled. Carolyn, do you think you could double check on that real quick
Yeah.
before we can move forward on that?
Yep.
Because the first one we sent out that I got was ordinance 15-19. And last meeting I wrote 20-11, and we
that
were
was 2018.
continuing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the papers she just handed us
Yes.
were
It says 20-12,
12-20.
yeah.
See if I can't pull it up real quick, because we originally discussed this. Let's see here.
20-12. 20-11 is what's referenced in the minutes from the September meeting.
Okay, so it looks like, that's what I was hoping to clarify. Yeah.
We had discussion of 20-11 MUT tax.
Okay, so 20-11, it looks like this was filled in incorrectly. And so
And the water and sewer bonds are 20-12.
Okay, perfect. So we don't need to amend anything with the agenda. Once we get to the ordinance, we'll amend the title of the ordinance, correct?
That's fine.
Okay,
You can do that.
so we'll wait for Carolyn to return. Commissioner, would you mind?
Carolyn, we got it. It's 20-11.
Yeah, it looks like from the September minutes, 12-20 was the bond ordinance.
Right.
And 20-11 was the, so it must
Okay.
be 20-12.
Okay, so we don't need to amend that at all. We'll go ahead.
I got it. I got it.
We don't have to worry about it, that's fine. Okay, so I guess moving forward, I think there's only two things that need to be amended, as far as that goes. So if I get a motion for approval of the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to
I'll second it.
Okay, then let's go ahead and have roll call, Carolyn, thank you.
Sure. Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfarth,
Aye.
Tom Green.
I don't vote.
I know it.
You don't have to call me anymore.
Okay.
If I can get a motion for approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Thank you. Let's go ahead and roll call again.
Yep. Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfarth,
Aye.
Motion passes. If I can get a motion for approval of the bills.
I'll make a motion.
If I can get a second on that.
I'll second.
And then roll call again, thank you.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfarth.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Do we have any open issues to talk about at this time? I don't believe so. I think everything else is going to be covered in.
I did have a question for the open, just, you had mentioned at the meeting prior to, well, not Tuesdays, but prior to that,
Okay.
that we were to talk about the new person that you had hired to be zone inspector, or not zone
Yes,
inspector,
so
but,
that didn't get on this agenda. It's still, it's gonna be Craig Wilcox is the individual that I'd like to appoint. He's the building inspector for Belvedere as well. He kind of filled in for us as a just contracted out inspector for the Dollar General project and a couple other Wooster Street projects like that where we needed somebody ASAP. He's been doing a great job and he's already been kind of directing our processes in the right direction. We're moving forward to where we're getting better accountability in our overall building enforcement. So that's something we're gonna discuss at probably the next meeting.
Okay.
It'll have to go on the agenda and then we'll go from that point.
okay, I just wondered, because I didn't see it this time, and you had
Yeah.
mentioned, so.
So moving forward, okay, discussion to approve and to amend ordinance 813, section C, subsection 1A, B of the municipal code. Excuse me, so this is something we've all discussed in the past, and this has to deal with new connections into our utility infrastructure. So new connections to the sewer system, new connections to the water system. I think we first discussed this going back over a year now at this point. And it just kind of got to the point where we finally had a grasp. We looked at it again. Craig came on, gave some suggestions, and we realized that we weren't in line with where we needed to be, especially with the communities, what it was actually costing to kind of maintain our system and everything like that. We weren't being compensated fairly. As these new constructions were putting greater strain and stress on the system. So I looked at it, kind of did some research, and it seemed like if we were to increase if we were to increase the fees by $2,000 across the board, it would put us right in line with communities similar in our size and similar in this area. And so as of right now, you know, the initial connection is $3,000 for a single family home. And so for instance, that would be raised to $5,000 for water and then also $5,000 for sewer. And so they're reflective of each other as well. And that's kind of what we're looking at tonight. Like I said, we discussed this, I want to say, over several different meetings starting back several years ago at this point. So with that in mind, we kind of got it before us. Is there any questions concerning this ordinance? Anything the board would like to discuss concerning it?
It seems like it's a large increase because we're so small, and if we want to get people in here, that's a lot for water and sewer raising
Okay,
it by.
but think about it this way. For instance, a contractor comes in, they build a house, all right? Typically, we can see anywhere for a new home. Now, mind you, this is somebody who's building a house to make money at it, okay? This isn't an individual, this is a contractor, construction company. They come in, it costs anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 to build a house, roughly. So we got a kind of a ballpark there. Now they turn around and they sell that house for $180,000, $190,000 at that point. So in the grand scheme of things, this amount isn't impacting them that greatly. What this is doing though, is this is compensating the village basically for the infrastructure we already put in for them to be able to build that house there. So what we did is we went ahead years ago at this point, and we put in a new treatment facility, we put in new water pipe like we're doing right now, we put in new sewer lines. We've already invested in the community a significant amount of money. So this now, these fees are basically the recoup for that investment that the village has already made on this. So we've already paid into this, we've already said we're waiting for this to happen, we know this is something that's gonna, move forward, we're going to expand and grow, we're gonna invest in this, and now this is the return on the investment. And so, we can't really think about this on a personal level, saying, well, that's a lot, yeah, it'd be a lot of money for you to all of a sudden just say, here's $10,000, but it's not you building a house. It's somebody who has a company who does this, that's looking at making $100,000, $120,000, whatever the actual upcharge on this versus what they actually invest in the property kind of thing.
How does this affect the people that, because I know it dates back, like, let's use the ice cream parlor as an example, because they just came in. Would that go back then to January on them? Are they going to?
We can't go back and charge somebody for something that's already done. This is for all construction projects moving forward.
Okay, because I thought it was dated on the one that I saw that we had sent to me and then on my phone, that it was saying it was January of 2020.
Well, whatever you have in front of you is.
I don't have any in front of me, that's why I'm
Okay.
asking.
No, this would be go forward. This would be go forward.
This is going forward.
This would be go forward. And then, as you said, this is consistent with other communities. in town.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
Yeah,
remember
we're
all
very
the water
low.
hookup and sewer hookup fees and.
Yeah. Well, for
in my
instance,
communities, but this
this
kind of
is
sounds like
yeah.
not unusual.
This is very close to Poplar Grove as well. Poplar Grove is structured a little bit differently. Actually, I kind of like the way Poplar Grove structures there. It's based off of multiplier, and it gradually increases with the housing size. And so some of Poplar Grove's is higher than ours, and ours is lower in other areas, but we're more in line with something like Poplar Grove or even
The mayor
Ringwood
sent
or
that
other
out
smaller communities.
Sunday, I think.
What's that?
Sunday?
I was gonna say,
I have on my phone, but I mean, I didn't have anything in front of me when you
okay,
mentioned
because I was
up
gonna
front.
say, it was sent out.
Yeah, and I saw that, but I thought the date that it said that it went back to January.
No, nothing goes.
May-
And I will say, I think we're doing a building in Roscoe,
Yeah.
a municipal building, but we're having to pay Rock River Water Reclamation District and then water, and I think both of them are higher than this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a place like Roscoe are, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know they are, yeah, considerable. So no, this isn't that
Okay.
great of a jump, honestly, $2,000 is
Probably
very.
been too long.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
the
this is
problem.
something that we need, and what's gonna happen is if we enact these fees, this is gonna allow us to bring our treatment facility up to where it
Yeah,
needs to
we
be.
need
Because
that. Thank
arguably,
you.
our
I appreciate
treatment
that.
facility at this point is starting to get into the age where we need to consider completely rehabbing it just because of the original equipment that was installed. This will allow us to do that without enacting any additional fees on the residents, is what we're trying to avoid. And so this kind of helps us cover those costs of the system. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or kind of concerns, topics to talk on, like, this is the time for this for sure? Okay, if not, I believe if there's any negative thoughts, this is now the time to voice them. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve ordinance 20-13.
I'll make a motion to approve 20-13.
And if I can get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, and then Carolyn's have roll call, thank you.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen, Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolford.
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you. Okay, moving forward, we've had discussion and approval. Possibly, we need to discuss this a little bit, there's some issues that we were discovered in the last couple weeks here. The Dollar General sign requirements. So, as we look at this diagram here, it states that sign is overall 21 feet in height. If I'm not mistaken, Carolyn, we looked into the ordinance, and the sign, according to 36A12, is not to exceed, do you have the number in front of you?
15 feet.
15 feet. So right off the bat, this sign isn't in line with our ordinances, which there's kind of that. At that point, they need to request a variance if we wanted to approve it, kind of thing. Also, as I think Camille and I, we had discussed, correct?
Yes.
The sign, there's another version of this sign in Poplar Grove that I'm rather favorable of, and I think that we're kind of all on the same page. We had talked about it at one point, and so I just wanted to get the board's input on this, because we can't approve this tonight considering we need a variance. There's additional legwork that needs to go into this. Tom and I would have to have another discussion concerning this, so it's not something we can approve tonight. What I would like to do is possibly have kind of an idea of what the board is favorable towards, that I could discuss it with Ryan, the engineer, and Ryan could then approach the company and say, hey, this is what's kind of, you know, the general idea of the board moving forward. So I'd like to open it up to any questions, concerns. Which way do you feel? What are you in favor of?
Is this the one that's in Poplar Grove that you
Yes.
like?
Yes, that's what I'm more favorable towards. It's,
How tall is that one? Looks like less than 15.
I would say something like 8 feet tall.
yeah, it's less than 10 if I'm not mistaken, so considerably shorter. It's not quite out there, you know, and so I guess if we could just have the board kind of make, you know, a statement like this is what I'm in favor of, yes. Ms. Shirley, do you have any input on this?
If
No,
I
yeah.
might make a comment, I like the idea of getting with Ryan and going back at this.
Yeah.
Because they want 20, this is 8.
Yeah.
You know, there's some middle ground there, I mean, you could go 12, you could, you know what I mean, you
No,
could,
definitely.
you could,
And there's a significantly difference, I'd imagine that probably
Yeah.
I would imagine, without going back and looking at the plot, here, I would imagine they've got a taller sign with a smaller base, just with a post base, probably because of the easement in front, probably, I would imagine. In Poplar Grove, there's a large hill,
Yeah.
large-ish.
topography
you know,
kind of.
Yeah,
dictates.
but there's a bigger easement too, from the road to the front of their parking lot is significantly bigger, so that's probably why a larger base works there.
Yeah.
I would imagine they can figure something out.
I think so.
But if you go at them at 8 feet, they want 20, they can get 15 out of our ordinance, maybe you come to a middle ground.
And so, but would that be something that I guess I can move forward with Ryan on and kind of approach? Is this something the board wants to lean towards, would be in line with what we're seeing in Poplar Grove yet?
Yeah, if we
Yes.
have an ordinance that says no higher than 15, then that's what they
Okay.
need to adjust to, so.
So I think what'll end up happening is I'll try and update the board as I can, I'll talk with Ryan, and then we'll kind of open up the discussion again and just say, hey, you know, this is what I'm getting the impression of where we at.
I wonder if they went with this because where it's located on 173, you could see it from a distance, where this,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
still really can't though, if you come up through there, you're coming around that curve.
There's a
and
lot of trees and such.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty limited for that.
It also could have been too with, it's gonna be, that might end up being an obstruction for traffic coming in and out of that parking lot,
Which is also true, yeah.
which could be why they've decided to go
You
with
get it
it.
above the
But
sight
that's
level.
our zoning person will help us with that,
Right.
Yeah,
because
so-
they're gonna have to know the setback, we don't know that as
Yeah.
board members. So, we may.
But yeah, but either way, we can open up the discussion, we kind of see, hey,
Right.
this is kind of where, we're, you know, where we at.
You're gonna have to pass some sort of resolution authorizing whatever. Well,
Yeah.
if they stay within code, I guess, if they
I
stay
think-
within the ordinance.
Technically, we might still need to
Oh,
have
there's-
overall
there's an
approval,
approval
yeah,
sec- there's
there's still an
approval
approval
process.
process with the board.
Yeah, well, then, so you got to say.
Yeah, so I'll move forward with that, and then, like I said, the board still has final approval, and so we'll kind of go from there. Okay, the MUT, and so, obviously, there's gonna be an amendment to the ordinance itself, we need to retitle what ordinance number it is, it doesn't change anything in the ordinance. We discussed this, it was the last meeting, the meeting before, this is a municipal utility tax with ComEd. We're not increasing anything, we're not adding anything, we're just continuing it, and then we're removing the sunset clause so that it would continue forward and perpetuate Is there any questions with this?
I knew we were removing the sunset clause, but I didn't realize that we were instating all of the other increases.
We're not instating any increases. This is exactly the same as what's currently in place. We're just extending the current ordinance.
Yeah, I think those are all dictated in the statute.
Yeah,
With comment.
this is exactly as what's been
But you gotta
happening.
lay them all out.
Yeah. I think this has been happening since 2010 at the very least. But I know it was repassed in 2010, it was also extended in 2015, it's every 5 years.
Right.
And so we would just be extending it yet again.
Yeah, I don't think we can raise the fee. I mean, these
So
aren't set. These aren't
okay,
set by us.
because it was under the tax imposed on it. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that was, because I thought it was like on top of what was already there.
No.
We
would not
we don't set them, we can just implement them. And I had kind of already did what I was gonna tell them to do before I could tell them, which was reach out to ComEd, show them exactly what we're gonna make, get their approval on the ordinance so it meets theirs, which I think we probably did 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Probably did.
Yeah.
So he was ahead of me on that and got that done, and apparently they're approving, they approved this ordinance.
So, no increases at
No
all. Just so the
increase,
residents
okay.
know watching this, we are not increasing or adding anything. We are just extending a current ordinance if this is passed tonight.
So the amount should stay the same then?
Yep.
Yes. Now, it should stay the same, they will stay the same
It
as
will
what's
stay the
before
same,
you and
okay.
what's currently in place. So, is there any other questions concerning that, or to kind of wrap it up? If not, with the contingency that we amend the ordinance number on the ordinance itself to 20-11, can I get a motion to approve ordinance 20-11?
I'll make a motion to approve 20-11.
If I get a second on that,
I'll second it.
okay, Carol, let's go ahead and roll call.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely, Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfarth.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, moving forward then. Trustee Wilcox.
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, trustee Dirksen.
Nothing.
Trustee Wolford.
Nothing this evening.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Burkhorn.
Water and wastewater treatment plant is running properly. We've not had any issues or any problems with the sidewalk. We've had a couple problems with trees, but that's been taken care of and everything is moving according to plan.
And then I want to say also, just with the trees issue, to touch on that. Originally, we had to remove trees because of the sidewalk going through. You know, the trees actually, thankfully, we did. There was quite a few that were very rotted and bad, like significantly so. The one, once they cut into it, started pouring out water and like sludge. Oh yeah, no, I've never seen anything
Wow.
like it.
Sap.
And we're talking
Sap.
a considerable amount came out of this tree. What ended up happening though was originally going through the company and the project, it was gonna cost a certain amount in excess of $20,000. Mike, our public works superintendent, went to the tree guy we've been working with for a while. He said, hey, can you give us a quote on this? It ended up coming in south of, what was it? Was it $6,000, $7,000?
Something like that.
We ended up, he saved the village over $15,000 though by going the route we did. So definitely wanted to thank him for that. But anyways, moving forward, was that all, Trustee Burkhorn?
Yes, just everybody pray for no more rain.
Yeah.
You can't pour cement in rain.
Mr. Green, do you have anything this evening?
Well, we are working on a couple of things, we're wrapping up, getting in line to wrap up the USDA, close on the USDA bond. We've got some other, issues that we're dealing with here inside Village Hall, but we're getting it all handled.
Perfect. Thank you.
So,
I do not believe there's any new business at this time. I don't think we've got any reports on unfinished business. Closing comments, is there anything before we get towards audience comments? Okay. I'm gonna open it up. It's now 7:25. We're gonna open up till 7:28 unless we get absolutely no interaction to audience comments. So if you drop a comment in the live chat on YouTube. I'll try and keep an eye on the Facebook as well if we can. It's a little bit more instantaneous and we'll kind of go from there. Let's see, we have a question, why hasn't the Village of Capron decal been put on the water sewer truck yet? It's been almost a year since the truck was purchased. So originally we purchased the truck just before the winter time. You can't put these decals on the winter, it would not work, it would be a waste of money at that point, it would fall off. What we're doing right now is that during snow plowing, there was a chunk of ice that had damaged that front quarter panel and part of the door. We're waiting on the door getting replaced. Once that happens, we're gonna end up putting the decals on there. We wanna make sure it's gonna not be a waste of money, it goes on right and it stays. So hopefully that kind of answers it. It's just been, there's been a lot of more, I guess, pressing issues as far as the water projects, the water main projects, the well, and then just waiting on some of those repairs to happen. That's the reason why. Okay, any more comments? We've got one comment down here, I'll just read. It just says, more family members, question mark. I do not know how to respond to that, so we'll just kind of leave that at that. See if there's anything else. And then also, just to clarify, I think the law has changed recently, but with some of this stuff, announcing names with comments, is it something that we do or don't do, or is that kind of just preference of the board? I know there's been some changes with requiring like address and phone number and stuff like that, that's no longer allowed, I believe.
You can't ask, I mean, yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You shouldn't be identifying name, I mean, they can volunteer it. I mean,
Okay.
if we were live, somebody could get up and say, I'm Bob Smith, I live at such.
Okay.
Frankly, in communities, I still say state your name and address.
Okay,
They could refuse, but I prefer to get it in the record.
okay.
But they could say, oh, I'm not gonna give you my address. Oh, okay, I just asked.
Yeah. And I guess, for the record, we've got, I'll just read the comments again, just so everyone's aware, and so that way there's no glossing over them. Gary Winters states, more family members, question mark. Kathy Brickmeyer asked, why hasn't the Village of Capron decal been put on the water and sewer truck yet? It's been almost a year since the truck was purchased. And then Rob Kaiser Jr. Just asked, when will meeting be open to public? That's a great question. Probably not anytime soon, if I'm completely honest. So I was hoping to start pursuing that shortly here. That was something we're looking to consider. Recently, though, there's been a significant increase in positive cases daily in Boone County. Right now, we're looking at anywhere from 20 to 30 some plus cases a day of new positive tests in Boone County alone. We also know that there is positive cases in Capron. I think as of right now, the Capron zip code, with the latest report, has something north of 40 cases that have been marked as positive in the 61012 zip code. I think we're closer to 45 or so cases now. With that in mind, with the increase, with the fact that the governor has put restrictions and greater restrictions on Boone County specifically, since our positivity rate is over, I want to say 10% now again, we're actually hitting cases where it's more severe than when this first started right now. We won't be opening anytime soon. We don't have the space to be social distancing like is necessary, and also with the board and everything like that. It would just be a situation that would not be safe for everybody involved. So regrettably, we won't be opening in the near future. I wish I could say different, but with the facts being what they are, it's just what it is at this point.
And I can tell you, we're about 50-50. I mean, McChesney Park's still in person for the corporate authorities, but no public. And they do exactly what you're doing. They invite comment, and although they have the benefit of 2 screens on the walls, and so people can actually be seen if they want to. They don't
Okay.
have to, but we don't have that ability. And then, we've got another one that's still doing Zoom meetings, and I've got one that's opened back up, but they only get 2 or 3 people at a meeting, and they feel comfortable with that. If 15 people showed up, we'd have to stop the meeting, or we'd have to do, because you can't social distance, so.
Yeah, and I
It's
would
not
want to be the
unusual.
one to say, you can't come in, we've reached our maximum.
It's not unusual to continue doing what you're doing.
So, and what we're looking at, and also just kind of touching that too, Karen and I working with the state on acquiring some CARES Act money or money to use in that capacity for the meetings and for things that we didn't budget for initially to kind of promote that interaction. And so hopefully as we kind of move forward, it's going to become a bit more of a focus to increase the interactivity and to give us more options with individuals, so that way we can have a little bit more of a public presence here while keeping health concerns in mind. So it's something we're continuously moving forward on. Okay. When will they, Rob Kaiser asked again, when will they start asphalting, sorry, Ogden? I know they're grading it today, tomorrow, hopefully, and don't quote me on this, there's always weather permitting. They want to start asphalting within the next couple weeks here, next week or two, I know is what's been discussed. That's not a promise that'll happen, weather might change and dictate that happens a little bit differently, but that's the idea. Okay. We'll kind of give it another minute here, see if any more comments or questions pop up. Let me check the email, see if we received anything before the meeting. As far as emailing in your questions with the meeting, so please do it prior to the meeting. Do it before the meeting starts, preferably a couple hours before the meeting starts. We're not always getting updates, ASAP. It doesn't come across instantaneously always with email, and so it might be something where we don't even see the email before the meeting or even during the meeting. So if you try and email in a question, please do it well before the meeting, and we'll kind of go from there.
But they can call them in, can't they, if they have a
I mean,
question?
they can call, they can comment, they can, chat with us, that's all fine, but if they're choosing to email it,
Right.
they just,
And what email address do you want them to send it to? Mine?
the village clerk,
Yep.
is fine.
And just so that
I
they
just
were
want-
verified by listening, so that they knew that they could call or whatever, so.
Okay, so with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Can I get a second on that?
I will second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting's adjourned, 7:32 PM. Thank you.
Even that technically should be a roll call, but I'll let you get away with it. No harm.